Once Queen 16, who has been my stalker for the last couple of weeks. She's known as Kay. She has 5 works, 10 reading lists, 74 followers. Okay, so I would say she is what I call the rare few on Waddies. This said W 2018 participant, so she got a bit of an award for this story. First of all, she's in a genre that is very, very hard to break through, whether you're on Wattpad or online. It definitely, if your story is not like 100% good, like it's very hard to get people to be like, I'm gonna read this, especially in a world full of, you know, new adult rising, IR rising, a lot of new developments, a lot of different areas. So of course, sorry, that's my computer because I started talking to my friends again. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, sorry. Talking to people about covers and food. So anyway, once Queen 16 has been, I don't want to use the word bothering me because it's wrong. She's just been very like, hey, reading my work. And it kind of makes sense. Like, if you want someone to review the work, you want them to show you what they got. And I obviously have 49 works, some of them done, some of them not. Okay, so Twisted Tales is the story of the Lost Heir, #Waddies 2018. So she put her story in for the Waddies this year. 720 weight, 75 votes, 9-part story. She unleashed something dormant inside her. The cover is okay. I mean, she had someone do it. Obviously, someone on Wattpad. I have to say, her summary is a typical fantasy summary. Orphaned and alone, they're always orphans. Mirea Sparling is a 17-year-old witch with only one. Let me stop. Inhale, exhale. I'll be making comments, and that's not bashing comments, but this is just how my mind works. When you've read as much as I have, you will feel. I mean, a lot of people are. Look at that. That's a dowager neck that I'm correcting. So like, I haven't done my workouts for it yet today, so it's bothering me. Darling with only one desire, to find her father again after nearly 11 years of having been torn apart. But when the war-ravaged Kingdom of Kasterlim is threatened by the outside force of the Kingdom of Sithrim, every young Kasterling in the Kasterlim is sent to Hornwood's Magisterium for training. Sweetheart. You could have said the Kingdom of Sithrim, which would have been just as cool. Kasterlim, Sithrim, and the Magisterium would have actually been a lot better. The fact that Sithrim, Magisterium, and Kasterlim all rhyme, nah. Just like, Sithrim is actually pretty cool. Kingdom of Sithrim, it sounds, or Sith. Kingdom of Sith. Think about it. Lord Sith. Ooh, people be like, oh, did she? You know exactly. If you know Star Wars, you know what I'm talking about. There, Mirea unleashes a dormant magic not even she knew she possessed. As she struggles to grasp her newfound power, Mirea begins to question whether she truly was born in Kasterling, or if her life has been... Wait, hold up. Is it Kasterling? Yes, Kasterling. Or if her life has been one big lie. A foreign threats to the Kingdom of Kasterling begin to mount as... Sorry, my bad. She will make a shocking discovery that she could either end... Fuck me. That could either end or start a new war. Can Mirea manage to tame her magic and find her father, or will her twisted life's tale end in tragedy? It's a tale of friendship, love, betrayal, and magic. Highly recommended a riveting read of fantasy adventure thrill-seeking readers. Okay, so you made that statement. I just want you to understand, sweetheart. You have only 6 chapters. Okay? Someone's gonna say some shit, but I don't care, because I'm like, if you're gonna say that's a highly recommended read, then I need more than 6 chapters. And I know every chapter is supposed to be detailed and you're thinking about it. Just write the story. Then go back and think, oh, I could add this, oh, I could add that. Because the longer you take to write a story out, more likely, the longer it takes, the more likely you're gonna be like, huh? I know. Has anyone read Moonswitch? Have you checked out Carrie's Dead? Have you seen an update for Shulan? The bigger the storyline, the faster you need to just go ahead and write that story out and put it out. Because then after you're like, what am I writing? There's so many characters. Where is this fucking going? I had so much shit to do. Real life, definitely. So just write the story, put it out there, fix it as you go later. Add what you need later. There's a lot of weird kids in my neighborhood. There's a window, so I see weird shit. All right. So she has an author notice and a posting schedule. I don't bother with those because real life has a way of taking beautiful, well done, well plotted out posting schedules and kicking their fucking asses into the dark abyss of space. So I don't have one of those. I mean, it's smart to have like some kind of like, I'm going to write 3K a day, or I'm trying to do 4K a day or 10K. The blessed ones do 10K. The ones that get paid and don't have regular jobs, yeah, they definitely do 10K. Hate them, but they do it. Yeah. And then she has the prologue, What the Night Hides, Birthday Morning, and Madame Yvain's Orphanage for Young Kasterlings, The Magic Within. Quite frankly, the Birthday Morning should have been the prologue. What the Night Hides should have been the first chapter leading into the second chapter where you meet Mirea, the main character. I read the first 2 chapters and then we got to chapter 3, and I have to say the writer is good, but there wasn't enough. Like, What the Night Hides dragged me in immediately, and then you jerked me back out by giving me a Birthday Morning, which was basically a flashback, a very long flashback, and I was just kind of like, this could have been intertwined with chapter 2, and when it comes to chapter 2, I kind of would have liked to see Mirea in action before I learned about her being 17 and basically not an orphan, but not an orphan. At least she doesn't see herself as an orphan. So it kind of threw me off because I was kind of like, okay, well, I like the writing, and Madame Yvain is a total bitch, I can just tell. And the character, the boy in the beginning, What the Night Hides, actually was very interesting. And you were saying sorry. First, don't ever apologize if you harm a character in your book, because one, you're going to do a lot of that in the future if you're writing fantasy, or if you're trying to get if you're trying to get to the level of Game of Thrones, you just better not even bother saying sorry. It's better to just write it and just let it go and be like, how did you guys think? I can say this because if you've read TSTP, its recent season 2 ending, you would know I just don't give fucks. I mean, as an author, you can't really be like, oh, I killed a character, I'm sorry. No, I killed the character. Moving on, chapter 2. Okay, so 1. I know that you apologize. Stop apologizing. Stop it. It's not good for you or your health. That means you care too much what people think, and writing is the complete opposite. The idea is that you create worlds that people fall in love with. Yeah, you might follow a bit of popular opinion, but you can't write if you're always thinking what other people think. Anyway, next. Let's see. I feel like, again, chapter 2, I'm going to talk about chapter 2 because chapter 1 wasn't a lot. There wasn't a lot to say because it was a flashback. And so I was kind of like, okay, again, you guys when you do these chapters and you split them up and you cut them up, you have to really think about the pacing and what you're trying to do with these stories, because I would read the first one and think, oh, cool. And then you have me flashback and I'm like, okay, why are you telling me all this? It's a memory. It's important. Yeah, but like, is there another way you could have gone about giving me this information? Okay, so in Mirea's POV, it's talked about basically introducing the kingdom and everything, which again, you're great, which is why I'm like kind of disappointed that you didn't introduce the kingdom through Mirea's eyes, like her running through the streets, her and her friend chasing something, them trying to get to the orphanage on time so that they're present, things like that she would lock it. Like, you didn't give me enough of the kingdom through Mirea's eyes and how she sees it. A 17-year-old girl who's had to fend for herself in a kingdom that's obviously the capital of the country. You know, there's a lot you told me a lot, but you didn't show it through Mirea's eyes, and which disappoints me, because then I could have seen how she functions in this world. Because even if she is looking for her father, even if she believes he's alive, she's had to function as a separate human being. And it's kind of like, you told me all this, and then we go straight to her. You talk about how she's an orphan, but I kind of get that, because you said in the summary she was an orphan. So you didn't really have to state again that she was an orphan. What you could have did instead was show me her life as an orphan. That would have been a little bit more, I think, better. It would have added better flow. Second, it would have taken the monotony out of you having like 3 beginnings, because it feels like you had 2 prologues instead of 1 prologue and a story starting. Like, again, I say that prologue should have been the start of chapter 1, and the chapter 1 should have been this. So okay, so then they talk about how she lost her parents, and so this chapter so I was wrong. It was birthday morning. You have long chapters. Can we just talk about your longer chapters? I know I'm not one to talk. Okay. So then we went to the next chapter. And then she's telling me her life. I just, please, I'm not upset. The book is good. Don't get me wrong. Because we meet Magisterium, but she's talking a lot. And then Matt and Yavin, even though she's chiding her, there's a lot more that could have happened. Her talking back, what was, was she wearing, how she smelled. I mean, you tell me how she looked, but does she smell gross? Does she have a nasty habit? Is there something on her face? Does she have a ugly animal that's always around her? Like, give me more, like, the smell, the feel, what's in the room, how the kids are dressed, how she's dressed. Are they wearing threadbare clothes? Are they fully clothed? Is Madame Yavain the kind of type that's evil monetarily or emotionally abusive? Like, physically abusive? Like, you have to tell me all of these things, because I need to be able to feel these things. It will add all of that, like, these questions. I know they're like, well, I do a lot of description. I'm like, but you really didn't. You gave me a lot of, you told me a lot about the world and the people there and how they looked and the city, but you didn't show me a lot of everything that was in the city. Sorry, my chair was creaking. Pop, pop. So you didn't show me enough. So let's go continue. And then when she does her magic, she's had managed to learn magic, but that's not what happens. She has magic, and her emotions, I mean, if I'm not trying to steal from Harry Potter or nothing, but anytime in any story where a character has magic and they get emotionally angry, their magic lashes out. It doesn't mean she didn't have magic, and it doesn't mean that she learned magic. It means her magic learned out. So I just wanted to point that out. Just point that out. And then I was mad again at you, because I'm mad. I tend to get irritated with really good writers versus not so great writers. You don't even talk about what like, you just kind of skip straight to like or 3 days later. I was like, you could have talked about how she fell and how she hurt and how her gremlin of a partner helped her up and she was screaming out and let her go, and like, you took out a whole possible 2 paragraphs of an interesting, funny scene that would have had someone laughing. Remember, you can always have your character, you can always add more. I know I'm like asking you for more, and you write already super long chapters, but I mean more like description and funny situations, more story, less telling. Okay, so I'm reading it, and this is her cleaning. Oh. it weird that he's a thief and she's worried about it? I mean, she's 17 and he's 17, so she could chide him, but tease him more so than chide him, because they're at that age where they're both have to survive alone. So I would think of more a situation of her teasing him. What makes you think I'm interested in what you have in your thieves bag? You're always interested in what I have in my thieves bag. Like something like that. I know I literally got quiet, but like it's because I'm reading it and there's just so much. Like, it's a lot. It's a long chapter. These long chapters, boy, I'll be like, ah. And then another flashback. Okay, so I can't do no more flashbacks. Okay, I am not. Okay, so flashbacks are important when a character gets to a pivotal moment in their life. And it's like flashback to sort of explain why this moment is pivotal or why this situation is important. But to have flashbacks almost continuously, you've had two flashbacks, and I am like, story. Where's the story? And you're probably like, well, the flashback should be the story. I'm like, yes, but like you've given me literally like maybe, I want to say 2 pins worth of her story. You've told me everything. And then now we're flashbacking again. Like, the whole idea of the summary was that it was a mystery, that it's a thriller. We don't really know what's happened. We have to find out. She's gonna, like, you didn't introduce her daily life, how she lives, what she does, who's her friends, who's her enemies in this existence. You haven't yet had the pivotal moment where they're all summoned to go to the Magisterium. Everyone should have magic. Maybe she hasn't had any magic, but everyone else around her has had magic. What's the typical age for kids to show they have the possibility of magic? Like, you've left out so much stuff that I'm just kind of like, wow, you're good. You're a good writer. That's not important. I don't care about that. I'm not saying you're a bad writer. What I'm saying is the story is moving very slowly. And I'm not saying you got to dump all the information on us. But when I say slowly, I mean like this. On the average morning, a human wakes up, they get in the car, they might trip, they might fall, they might scrape their knees, they might laugh with their friends, they might cry with a buddy, they might rant about work, they might get irritated, but they're going to do all of this, and as they're doing it, their day moves along, right? But you're not giving me all that action as we move along. You're giving me, welcome to Kasterlim, this is how it is. These are people in there, there's sword people who sew da-da-da. And I'm just like, and it's a habit for everyone on Wattpad because no one points it out, or it's a habit when you start writing because you have a habit of telling everything instead of taking the time to show it, which means you have to have the dialogue move along with them, moving along with the storyline, moving forward. And a lot of people are like, what? It basically means that, like, instead of telling me, again, like I said before, instead of telling me about her losing her father, we're flashing back, take the flashbacks out and show me her being an orphan who doesn't believe she's an orphan. Her, like, for instance, do the other orphans make fun of her for it? Is there a particular orphan that's pretty nasty to her about the fact that she thinks she's not an orphan? Like, these are the things I'm looking for. And quite frankly, I have to rate your story another 4, I think. A 4. Because I don't feel like I'm getting what you can give me. Like, I feel like you obviously have the ability to tell a good story. So I demand that you tell the story in a way that not only combines your obvious ability to describe and tell a story and world build, but you also have to take the time to dialogue and make a scene. You have to make your scenes active and not defensive. Your scenes are very, they're not active enough for me. Like, you say this kid's a thief, well, show me that he can flip or hang from something, or he's climbing something as he's talking, or he's dangling something pretty in front of her face. Like, this is a world of magic, it's a fantasy world. So there has to be these details in order for me to be like, oh, get sucked in, because not only am I learning who the characters are through her, but I'm also learning about the city through her, and I'm learning about the status of people through her and what she sees. But right now, even though it's through her, it feels like you're telling me everything. So I'm not able to, it's like I'm reading a documentary instead of a story. So let that soak in. Don't be mad, because it's not saying I hate your story. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying that a lot of people on Wattpad tend to do this thing where they tell a story rather than show it. And you'll realize what I mean. So if you ever need to send me a message like, what is showing instead of telling me, I will show you. I will rewrite a scene. I don't want to rewrite your whole story, and I do not want to tell you how to do your story, but you'll understand what I mean if you send me a message. So answer Queen 16. You're done. That's 3 today. That's 3, guys. 3. I don't even know how to count.